So just when you think things could not get worse for the Baldoni versus Lively situation,
Justin has hit Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist Leslie Sloan with a $400 million lawsuit.
Justin Baldoni is now suing his former co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds.
Justin Baldoni sues Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and her publicist for $400 million. That's right.
Justin Baldoni filed a bombshell $400 million defamation and extortion lawsuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Justin Baldoni is continuing his legal crusade against his It Ends With Us co-star Blake Lively and his production company. They had just filed a massive lawsuit against Blake, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist Leslie Sloan. Now he's seeking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Justin accusing the A-list couple of defamation and extortion, seeking $400 million in damages.
For the record, I took a look and saw what was their reported net worth, and it's reported, based on what I can find on Google, that Blake Lively is worth about $30 million. However, Ryan Reynolds is worth about $350 million. So he's coming after all of it, all right? I highly doubt he's going to get $400 million. That would completely bankrupt them, but that's what he's asking for. So Justin and his company, Wayfarer Studios, which produced It Ends With Us, filed the federal suit. It basically is ripping Blake apart and Leslie for allegedly starting a smear campaign against Baldoni and take away full control of the movie, which he, by the way, directed and co-starred in with Blake. Now, according to these documents, and they were obtained by TMZ, this was reported on January 16th, Blake was determined to make Baldoni the real-life villain in her story. And this, he claimed, was to deflect the public trashing her for her being tone deaf towards what the film and the story was really about, which is DV, domestic violence. Justin claims that rather than Blake Lively really standing up for the film and what the film was about, she was using the red carpet experiences and all of the publicity for It Ends With Us to really promote her hair care and alcohol line while she was promoting the film about domestic violence. This is really what the film was about. Now, in this lawsuit, Justin claims that between himself and Blake, it all really started back in May of 2023 when they started shooting the movie. Now, he claims that she was organizing all along this takeover strategy as they battled for creative control. Now, we do know when things got really, really bad towards the end and there was a movie premiere, Baldoni was complaining that she forced him and his entire family to watch the premiere in the basement while she enjoyed, the limelight and everything upstairs. He was tucked away in the basement. Justin also calls out Ryan Reynolds for getting involved in the writing of the script. Now, he said that Blake had done multiple rewrites, and the biggest, thorn in his side was the film's critical rooftop scene where the main characters meet. Now, they also had a meeting at Blake and Ryan's New York penthouse to discuss it. But reflecting back, he thinks it was an ambush all along. Why? Because in that rewriting of that scene, Ryan Reynolds was there, her husband. She was there. She obviously presented the rewrite. And then who else walks in? Taylor Swift, okay? We're talking Taylor Swift here, guys, one of the biggest, most followed accounts. And we know how she can move the needle and influence, an army of Swifties. Now, she popped in and she also added her 2 cents and basically was applauding Blake Lively's version of the scene, which was a rewrite from the original script. Here's something to note that TMZ said. She's only mentioned in passing in this lawsuit, but Justin said that he understood the subtext, meaning he needed to comply with Lively's direction for the script. That was the reason why all 3 of them were there. That's the reason why he felt ambushed. He later included this text that Blake Lively sent to him to give it context and to sort of her, exercising her power. Now, in this text, it says, if you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi. And like her, I happen to have a few dragons, for better or worse, but usually for better. because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. And laughy face, you will too, I can promise you. He included these texts in the suit, and one where Blake, describes Taylor and Ryan, I guess, as those monsters, because that happened, shortly after, I guess, the timing of that. The documents also include emails between the two actors right before the film began. And also Justin claims that Blake expressed warm gratitude for all the work they'd done to prepare, but he also believes it was all a facade so that she could wrestle away this control over him, because he felt that he was losing control, as they got deeper into the set. Again, we've talked about how she also helped him and acted as her own intimacy coordinator, where we caught her on a video saying that I don't recommend it. You probably should not be your own intimacy coordinator. And yet that was in her lawsuit. So it's really messy. Talk about a relationship going sour. Now, some of the early battles were about her character's wardrobe, and she wanted rich and sexy, but he pointed out that she's playing a struggling small business owner. Again, another thorn in his side was the fact that this movie was meant to be about DV, okay, domestic violence, and Blake wanted it be more about romance, okay, and that's a big miscommunication, okay? If the theme of the movie is romance versus domestic violence, you've got different tones, you've got different settings. And he was saying that she didn't even bother to read the book. This is another thing. It's like, how are you taking creative control, rewriting entire scenes when you didn't even pick up the book? He lays out on the controversial and heated January 2024 meeting between himself, Blake, Ryan, and several other cast and crew members that Blake came with a 17-point return to production demand as they were preparing for reshoots on the film. This is the meeting where Ryan allegedly went off, okay, and on Justin for the alleged sexual harassment that went on during filming, okay? They did have this private meeting with all the cast and crew to basically discuss what Blake Lively reported as harassment and unwanted sexual advances and all the other stuff that she's claiming. My goodness, it's messy. Justin's description is pretty colorful, saying that Blake unleashed Ryan Reynolds on Baldoni and Wayfarer, his company. He claims that although he gave in to most of Blake's demands, she continued to threaten, continued to torpedo, continued to stop production, continued to put in the cuts and versions of how she wanted things to play out. Now, Sony Studios, the film's distributor, told Wayfarer Blake refused to promote the movie unless they allowed her to do her own cut. So they made it a competition. Wow, so if you have the lead actress who also has a big following saying that she's not going to promote the movie, that probably has to be in a contract somewhere, but she won't promote it unless it goes her way. Again, I'm just reporting back on what's said. I have no idea if this is true or false, but it is what's being reported. Justin says both his version and Blake's would be shown to an audience, and whichever tested better would be the final cut. Baldoni says that his version significantly higher with key audience demographics, but he claims, not surprisingly, Blake reneged on her promise and still insisted that Sony release her version, which it did. And Justin says he essentially was forced to fire himself from directing the movie. Even after all of that escalated, he claims that the pressure and smearing continued as the movie was rolled out, Blake making it very difficult for him, Blake making it about her, promoting her own stuff, talking about flowers. Everyone should wear flowers on the red carpet, not anything about the tone and seriousness and message and purpose of this movie, which was about raising awareness for DV. He says that Sloan, Blake's publicist, teamed up with his ex-publicist, who he'd recently fired, and mined her company phone for a slew of texts that they used to concoct a very false narrative about Baldoni. So, wow, he's really playing the victim card here. The suit also includes a ton of texts that Sloan sent to various media outlets, including TMZ, in which she allegedly tried to divert attention from Lively's tyrannical behavior on set. They're saying Baldoni's saying it's a complete cover-up. Let's smear Baldoni, make him out to be this bad guy because, God, let's take the pressure off me for being insensitive and not wanting to promote this film. And let's make it about, how he's the bad guy and did inappropriate things and talked about stuff and whatever. Wow. The California wildfires, by the way, even get a mention in this 179-page lawsuit. Baldoni says that although Blake filed legal action against him in late December, on the eve of the winter holidays, as he put it, she waited several weeks to serve the papers, eventually doing so the very day the fire exploded on the Pacific Palisades. Now, he writes that while everyone was getting their belongings and literally watching the evacuation orders, Lively, from the safety of her penthouse in New York, deployed process servers in the midst of these troubling times. This suit, it is for defamation, civil extortion, interference with contractual relations, and a slew of other allegations. He's seeking no less than $400 million in damages from Lively, Reynolds, and Sloan. So that means he wants all their money. Because again, Reynolds, $350 million, Lively, $30 million reported. Who knows how much Sloan has? And he's claiming that's how much he's due and owed. I highly doubt that that's going to happen. I don't know if he'll even win anything, if this will get tossed out, if the courts are going to laugh at it, if they think that there's enough evidence. But gosh, do they not like each other? Talk about a relationship gone bad, all right? Lively's promotion of the movie caused instant negative and organic backlash due to her own highly publicized actions. It's messy over here, guys. So, as reported, Baldoni is also suing New York Times for $250 million over the newspaper's bombshell article alleging that he and others coordinated a smear campaign against Blake. So, it's like a roller coaster. I'm on this ride. What do you guys think? Are you on Team Baldoni, Team Lively, Team Reynolds? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.